ego. Is it good or is it bad? So let's make some lists. How, in some ways, can ego be bad? Well, sometimes it can limit your perspective of what you see, or what can you see, or what you allow yourself to see. I think one of the best answers that I've come to find, especially in psychology, and if you're a lawyer, I'm sure in law also, when someone asks you, is this good or is this bad? Is this better or is this best? The answer that I find myself running into oftentimes is not yes or no or always or never. Really, the answer that I always come into is it depends. It depends. And why does it depend? It's, well, depends how you use it, or what kind of gets in your way, or how sometimes it can may get confused. So sometimes ego is bad because it limits your perspective. What are some other ways that ego could be bad? Well, another way that ego could be bad is it shuts down conversation. Because if my ego is too strong about a situation, a perspective, or a way of thinking, then I don't allow other people to say anything. I don't even want to be open to it about what could happen, or in this figurative, or in another situation, or what have you. So again, maybe this one, it limits openness. And when we talk about ego bad, we're taking it to an extreme, right? We're not talking about, oh, is ego, like having an ego, is it good or bad? We're talking when things get taken to an extreme. And so when things get taken to an extreme and they shut down conversation, or the perspective is not open to the conversation, or they're not really open to any types of seeing differences, this is what we're talking about. When an ego is too strong, this is when things get kind of dicey, right? At the same time, maybe that's a thing we can talk about. Okay, if it's too strong. Okay, maybe that's where this goes instead. Maybe that's the preference here. It's not if it's good or bad, but again, maybe it's a strength thing. When the ego is too strong, these are things that can happen when it's too strong. Because at the same time, ego could also be bad if it's too weak and it doesn't exist. So what do I mean by an ego being too weak? You know, like when somebody goes and asks another person, or like, oh, what do you want to eat? And they're like, oh, whatever. I'm down for whatever. Or like they have no preferences, or they have no perspective about whatever, and it's like kind of hard to understand what this person is thinking or seeing. Woo! Thank you for the follow, my friend. Thank you for the follow. When this other person is thinking, or you don't know what this person is thinking, or who this person is, because they're either too chill, down for whatever, or, you know, they don't like conflict or whatever. So it's like, oh, what do you want? Anything. Or what do you think? It's whatever. Or I don't know. Or what do you get from that? Nothing. There's no ego. Like, this person doesn't exist. There's no thoughts. There's no preferences. There's no angle for a conversation, because it's just existing. Woo! Thank you for the follow, Borgers. Thank you. Welcome to Office Hours. Yeah, so too weak. What happens here? There's nothing. There's no conversation. There's no preferences. There's no thoughts. I mean, preferences, thoughts, opinions. Oh my god, spelling. Boom. There's none of these things. So how can you create a conversation or a dialogue or understand anything if your ego is too weak? Right? Again, we're taking ego to extremes, right? That's all we're talking about. When it's either too strong or too weak, because like Goldilocks, we want something straight in the middle, just right, where we can do all these things. So again, this is where the conversation is going. So, I mean, other things that might happen if you have too strong of an ego which is really interesting that, you know, I wonder if you guys experience this too, is if something is too strong and the perspective is incorrect, what happens? Like, if it's too strong, the perspective is incorrect, or they make a mistake, like, that's another thing that happens. What have you found, or in your experience, when people with strong egos may not exactly have the correct answer, or maybe they make a mistake and they're not able to see it? What happens when ego is too strong? They don't learn. Very good. They don't learn. I like that. I like that. Consequences, right? We're here. Consequences. What happens after this? A very common things that happen is, yes, they don't learn. And why don't they not learn? Or what makes learning hard? I think this is a very interesting question for you. Why don't you think they learn from mistakes or consequences if ego is too strong? Think about it. What happens typically? Where do people point to? L ratio, big ego, bro. Honestly, that's what happens. So typical consequences of when people have big egos, they don't learn because often they blame, right? They blame, or there's some type of reason or an excuse that's kind of built in here that doesn't involve them, or something that they can do in the future to make sure that they don't make that mistake again. Because typically what you hear sometimes is people take their ego and it's too strong, they're inflexibles. Absolutely. Issues are outside of their control. Absolutely. And sometimes there's some type of, what is the word? Confirmation bias that limits their perspective. Maybe confirmation bias goes here. Right? And what you, like, a common example of when this happens is if their ego is too strong and you present them with a play, or they're looking back, or, you know, sometimes maybe this even happens to you. I'm sure this happens to me. We all have our blind spots, right? When you go and review a play, or you go review what happened, typically they'll say something like, this would have worked if only blah, 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 blah. This would have worked if only this player didn't die here, or if they positioned better, or if I just killed them, it would have been fine. Or, you know, that play was bad, but if I only just shot them, everything would have been fine, which is true. I mean, you can't argue with that point of, if this thing happened, it would have been fine. But at the same time, are they able to generalize this thing, this concept, this idea to more situations than this one we're talking about right here? And so sometimes why this happens, what I think the not learning may come from ego protection. Maybe ego protection. I mean, I think that's all a consequence. I mean, it all makes sense. Why won't you delete? This new node just really wants to be here. Eh? Okay, well, that works too. So again, I think this definitely gets in the way of the learning, this ego protection, because it feels bad to be wrong. I mean, we all can agree that it feels bad to be wrong. It feels bad when we make a mistake. And sometimes it feels even worse to admit it to other people that we fucked up. But at the same time, that's games, bro. Like, that's entire life. That is messing up and making mistakes. That's like hand in hand with victory. Like, you have to fuck up. You have to make mistakes. You have to take risks and be willing to put your ego on the line to get better. But the question is not, can I play this and not make any mistakes? The question is, can I make mistakes and pick myself up and move forward so I don't make those mistakes again? Because what's even more irritating than making mistakes is making the same mistake over and over and over again and thinking it must be all of these things versus what can I do differently to get better. Absolutely, Yami.